Hello again. Yeah, so I hope the last video did not get too long. Well, they're all getting long, but anyways, so the rear one has been done. Now we have to move on to the front. Now again, I'll start up by first pushing the caliper in so that cylinders can push the oil back like I did in the rear. So basically think of this as the caliper and this is the piston inside. So as the pads keep on wearing out, the piston keeps coming out and out and out and out and out like this. So that's the thing that we have to take into account. And the oil, say let's say this is where the hose gets connected, the oil gets keep pushing into filling in this space. So all we have to do is just push this piston back in and make sure we are just sucking it out with something so that it does not spill anywhere. I hope I am making that point, so that we have less oil to actually drain in the process of flushing and bleeding. We can straight away start from here like the normal process, but that just wastes some bit of fuel. And I think it is quite clear now that I'm a pretty stingy guy when it comes to these kind of things. So let's continue. So tools we'd be needing is 11mm spanner for front, where is it? 11mm, and or you can use a wrench like this, close-ended spanner, sorry. But I prefer using this only, so let's get that out. And then 11mm socket to initially break it so that there is no slippage on the bleed nut. Extending the life of every part at the best, again saving some money. But yeah, proper size screwdriver to open that. I mentioned earlier I use this. I'll post that video hopefully. So that's our cap out. That's our diaphragm. Again, we have to make sure that the diaphragm is in good nick. Cloth that I just slightly moistened. Now the front one does not look as bad as the rear one. Again, injection. Okay, I need a smaller syringe, but anyways. Now just for example, this is from rear and this is from front. And that is about 15 ml out. So let's push the piston back in and see how much more we can get out. So pushing it by hand did not work basically, so yeah, I'll be using this. You don't have to do this step, you can completely skip it, but if you're doing something like this, just remember that brake pads would have in the metal there is an open space like this and like this, so we are when we are anchoring this, it's not anchoring on this part, otherwise that would break the brake pad material, so no point doing that. So let me get this done. So for the curious ones, this is how it is going to work. I have anchored it cloth so that I don't damage the caliper on the outside. I think that would do it. If you anchor it correctly, it would get it pressed completely in for both the pistons. For that exercise, this is I guess about 5-10 ml, so not much, and a smaller syringe. It is coming at that filter thingy, slightly more. Yeah, that would do it. I'm going to leave that much inside so that I don't have to put too much effort into bleeding. And yeah, remaining 5 ml also. Okay, this is like 6 ml, but yeah. I'll pour some oil in. This much should be okay for now. The next part, we are going to slightly loosen this nipple. Carefully, just don't try and force it out, otherwise this might break. Now again, to initially break it, 11mm spanner. As soon as it is open, just bring it up back, but don't tighten it as much. That's the idea. Here and done. So that the wrench can work on this easily. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Now the rest of the process is simple. Press it a couple of times. Then down there where that nozzle was, just open it. Once I open it, I'll keep it pressed and this will go back. So let it go all the way back. Then tighten it, that nozzle that is down there. Now I'll try and capture this with the second camera that is down. Hopefully this will, I am not sure how this will come out, but let's try that. Let's begin. 11 mm spanner, press it a couple of times, open, let it go all the way back, close, the lever has gone all the way back, release, now again, hold, open, press, close, release, and you already see how weird the color is. Keeping an eye on the top, if this has to be topped up, might take a few times, so I'll let you know how many times I have done that, the topping up. I think between each top up there would be about 10 12 pumps like this, so get back to you later. And I think we are done. Just to be sure, I can see the clear fluid coming out, so yeah, we are done. So that part is done. Now, in case if you are seeing bubbles, that means there is air in your system, and that is what bleeding is. You just have to repeat the same process. Keep topping up, and the same process, keep repeating that until you stop seeing any air bubbles. Now again, just wipe it. Just drain as much as you can by bending it. Take the cloth, pull it out carefully, and we are done. So this is how much of oil is in there. But first, before I close it, I'll completely wash this plastic thingy and the cap with soap and water, as well as this nozzle. I did the same for the rear one as well. Then I'll completely dry it. You can use a blow dryer or air pressure system, whatever you have. Make sure this is not getting damaged. Make sure this has no holes or any punctures in it, and the edge here is in good health. This is just some oil. So let me first wash this. I'll be cleaning this thoroughly as well, on the outside of course. That leads to discoloration, that fading of paint. You see this? So yeah, this is not the best of the maintained bikes, and 17-18 years old, but anyways, so that does happen eventually, but it's a good indication that the diaphragm needs to be changed. And just make sure, like you see, slight oil here. So I'll just not put it, I'll just wipe it with the cloth, then with slight soapy water. Let's do that. All four sides done. Now I just applied some soap on the cloth. You don't have to do it, I mean, this is just an OCD of mine. Now that will take care of any of the residual oil that was out there. And on that note, the screws that go in, so that they don't get corroded eventually over a period of time, even though they look clean, I'll be washing them and drying them up as well. Okay, so screws cleaned, master cylinder on the outside clean, diaphragm clean, looking in good health. Still can't capture, but yeah, in good health, would give a proper seal. Cap cleaned. Now how much should I top it up? Now once you are doing it, the window would show you the minimum mark, but it exactly does not show you the maximum mark. So how much should you fill that in? The idea is that you see the length of this, basically this diaphragm, so it should not be like when you put it in, it should just try and trickle out and then again get to the outer edges and then start ruining the things. So basically just slightly up till this edge mark, just slightly below that. Have to be careful since I just cleaned it, should have done it earlier, but let's try and see. Yeah, this much would do. Had to make sure that the handle is properly aligned. Yeah, you have to make sure of that as well before starting this job. It has to be completely parallel. Now as you can see, this looks good. Again, measuring, yeah, would give some level. Nothing is gonna squeeze out once I put this diaphragm back in. Nothing is coming out when I press, so that's a good sign. Where is my bit? There it is. I'll first tighten them with hand only. Now these don't have to be over tightened. I have seen I have seen some cases where these are over tightened. Yeah, a proper torque wrench is needed at this time, but by hand and feel you can get it to the right amount. Just when you know that, okay, And if you squeeze it too much, you will cut the rubber and then again damage. So this looks good. Done. Done. That's it. That will take care of it. Now of course clean the nozzle down and put the nipple back and we are good to go. Just like use cloth, just twisted it, put it back in to get any of the residue oil out, and let's put the cap back. Now one thing to mention here is if you're using new pads, that thingy that I did to press the piston back in so that I can get most of the oil out, you don't have to worry about doing that at all, because already the piston is quite in because of the new pad. And also these are the worn out pads, and the new one would be somewhere like this, so that means the piston is already a lot back in. Same with the rear one, so that can be an exercise in futility. It's a personal preference. I just prefer doing it this way. It helps me save some oil. I mean, I don't know, it just does. Now let's calculate how much oil have we totally drained out. So I poured everything from the containers. This one was for the front one, this one was for the rear one, and the rest of it I was using to check how much have we completely drained, and that's coming up somewhere about 140 ml. So that is it. How much remains in this? Some of it was taken out earlier, so yeah, about 120-30 ml, I think 20 ml I would say still remains in this, which I'll be using to rebuild the caliper on, the master cylinder on that. I hope you found this useful. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye.